Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. 4-0 in week 8. Listen, I told you what we were going to do, and we went out and did it. If you made money last week, slam that like button, leave a comment, and I told you we are the best in the business. Let's get to week 9 also on Patreon. 6-0 in our last 6 soccer bets. We can't be stopped. Let's get to week 9. First game, we got the Tennessee Titans at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Titans +3. I got the Titans to cover, Steelers to win. I think this is going to be decided by a last-minute field goal, 1 or 2 points. And listen, if you guys think Levis is going to play like he did against Atlanta, we can't forget that Atlanta secondary has been pretty damn good this year. If you think Levis comes out and plays a good game, then you have to put your money on the Titans. For me, man, it's Thursday night. I'm staying away from it, even though we're like 6-2 in Thursday nights this year. I think the Steelers win it late. Titans cover. Interesting game, but you know it's Thursday night, and these two teams, it's going to be sloppy. Next game, we're going to Germany. We got the Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs. Fins +2.5. I got the Fins to win in the cover. And listen, this is the first week where they're not going to be a money pick. I do want people to think more in a long-term view. I know they had that big loss against the Bills, and I know they had that big loss against the Eagles, but we bet them every week. They're 6-2 against the spread, and that absolutely means nothing. And I am worried about the Chiefs coming off a loss. We know what that means. We know the game plan is going to be expanded. We know the Chiefs are going to come out with more rigor and physicality, but I just like where the Fins are, and I got the Fins to win in the cover, and unfortunately, Vegas, I think they agree with me here. I think they agree with my assessment of the Miami Dolphins. This will be the first week I don't bet a Dolphins game. I'm going to wake up early and watch it stress-free. Fins win in the cover. I'll do a separate video on this because there's lots of matchups to go over. Next game, we got the Tampa Bay Bucs at the Houston Texans. Texans -2.5. Money. Texans to win in the cover. I absolutely love this, and we know when to ride the Texans this year, and I know there was probably a lot of tears dripped down when they didn't cover against the Panthers. Were we on that? Was that a money pick? Absolutely not, but this is where we get back on the D'Amico train, on the Stroud train, and like I've been saying all year, I just don't think this Bucs team is any good. Like, we know their defense is stacked, but a lot of those veterans, they are starting to lose interest. They had one last Alamo against the Bills. You got to tip your fedora to them for that good performance, but I don't like this Bucs offense, and the main problem is they can't run the ball, and that's the way to attack Houston. This Houston defense is looking good. There's just a soft in the middle. Sheldon Rankins is hurt coming into the game. I just don't think the Bucs can exploit it, and when it comes down to a hobbled Baker Mayfield on a bad knee versus CJ the Stallion Stroud, I'm going Stroud, man, and I think Stroud has a bounce-back game, and every time the Texans have disappointed this year, they came back fighting, and they come back again. Texans winning the cover, make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Arizona Cards at Cleveland Browns. Cards +8. I'm going Cards to cover, Browns to win. Listen, you guys need to be mature about this. This is based on if Kyler Murray plays. If they throw Clayton Tune out there, I'm out. I'm taking Browns to win in the cover. But I do think Kyler Murray comes back this week, and I do think he makes enough plays. And heaven forgive, man, this Cardinals offensive line certainly needs Murray back there with the performance we saw last week from that Cardinals offensive line. I'm looking at the Browns to run the ball, pound them. But this Browns team, I do feel like like they're a little bit deflated. They're not working at full confidence right now, and I don't know what's going on there. We know there's some bad stuff with Deshaun Watson. I got the Browns to win, Cardinals to cover. If it dips down to like 6.5, you guys know I'm betting the Browns, but not right now. Next game, we got the Minnesota Vikings at the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are -4.5. I got the Falcons to win in the cover. I mean, listen, I posted on Instagram during our Vikings bet. I said, I don't want to jinx the bet, but this is the best Kirk Cousins is playing these last 3 or 4 games. And I don't think I was exaggerating or using hyperbole. And I just feel like the Vikings team will be absolutely decimated, both at the quarterback position, and we know they're not going to get good quarterback play. They got the young kid coming in from BYU, but I think also mentally and emotionally they're going to be shattered by losing Kirk Cousins, and this is where the Falcons come in, and the Falcons have to prove their point that just was not good enough last week, and we all know that, and we all know the Falcons have their issue, but when they get at home in that dome, they seem to play better on defense, and they seem to run the ball, and that's how you have to attack this Vikings defense. You have to run it right at their throat, and don't let Flores throw those exotics at you. I think Arthur Smith has himself a day. Falcons win by 6 or 7 points against my Minnesota Vikings. Next game, we got the Washington No-Names at the New England Patriots. No-Names +3. Money, money, money. Money. Borderline money pick with the No-Names +3. I understand this is risky. And I understand I'm recording this before the trade deadline. This is loaded with risk. But I got to look at the Patriots, man, and I've been fading them the whole year. I think they're like 2-6 against the spread. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe they're due for a cover. I don't think so. And when you look at this game, I think it comes down to the Patriots offensive line versus the Commanders defensive line. Now, there are some rumors that, Sweat, Chase Young could be traded. I'm going off what I'm seeing on Tuesday, and both will be in the lineup, and both will be hitting Mac Jones. And Mac Jones is an absolute turnover machine. And when you look at this Howell versus Mac Jones matchup, I got to go with Howell. And you guys know I'm not even a Mac Jones hater or blamer. I do think this Pats team is reeling, and I don't think this defense is as good as the media says, as good as they were 4 years ago. It just seems like the Patriots are riding on coattails of years before. It was cute how they made that surprise win a few weeks back, but I think Washington comes in. I think Washington plays hard, and Riverboat Ron is also coaching for his job. I don't think this is going to be a tank situation for the Commanders. I'm going Commanders to win in the cover. The money pick is on the +3. Next game, we got the Los Angeles Rams at the Green Bay Packers. Rams +3. Rams to win in the cover. This would be a money pick. If we knew Stafford was going to play. So I ask everyone, just approach this with a big leap of caution. Now, let's look at the game. Last week, I did say Minnesota would beat the Packers, and I thought it would be easy. And that's what it was. And Jordan Love just isn't good enough. I know some of you guys got hoodwinked by that week 1 performance against the Bears, and it's tough to admit you're wrong. I understand that. But when it's money involved, when you're betting as much money as me, and I know you guys are betting big too, you just have to be able to say, I was wrong about it. And everyone was wrong about Jordan Love, and I was right about Jordan Love. And this Packers team does seem to lack a good enough coach. And I don't know how LaFleur tiptoes out of any criticism that throws his way, but I don't think they're a good, well-coached team. And the Rams got to be due for a win, right? I know the Rams are no beauty themselves, and that was an absolute pathetic performance against the Cowboys, but I don't think the Packers defense can push the same buttons the Cowboys defense did. The Packers pay Rashawn Gary, and they pay a bunch of guys in the front 7, but when has this front 7 been dominant? I haven't seen it, man. I'm going Rams to win in the cover with the +3. Next game, we got the Seattle Seahawks. The Baltimore Ravens. Hawks plus 5.5. Money, money, money. Money, borderline money pick. This week is a wild week. And there is going to be very fine margins in this game. Listen, I got the Ravens to win, but I got the Seahawks to cover here. And the reason why it's not a full-blown money pick is I'll walk you through it. Seattle going west to east on the road, and we know that adds complications. We know that's worth some points. But I do think the Hawks keep this close, and I do think the Hawks come to fight. And I do think this Ravens team is a bit overhyped, and I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. You guys want me to admit I'm wrong and get on here and cry about it. But I just don't think this Ravens team is all that good, and they're not all that good against the spread. And I do feel like 5.5 is a lot. I kind of just want to put the chips in the table, and I want to say, do what you did to the Lions. Do that again. Cover the game easy. I don't think the Ravens are able to do it. And I think this Leonard Williams trade for the Seahawks, it shores up a lot of issues. I really felt like they needed another dog in the 3-5 technique, and that's what you get with Leonard Williams. I think the Seahawks defense gets stops, and the Seahawks offense, they've been a bit of a disappointment the whole year, but I do feel like they're getting better. I do feel like they're finding rhythm. Seahawks cover the damn game. Ravens win it late with a Tucker field goal. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. The best gambling show on the internet. Leave a damn comment. Next game, we got the Chicago Bears. The Bears at the New Orleans Saints. Saints -7. I got the Saints to win in the cover. We didn't listen. We know when to ride the Saints. I was thinking about betting them this week. I liked what we saw against the Colts. They won that money from us, and I do think if you're a Saints fan, like Lauren at home, you can feel a little bit encouraged. This Bears team is suffering with injuries, and I don't think Justin Fields is playing. If Justin Fields is playing, I'm changing my opinion completely, but the defense is decimated. You got Edmonds, you got Brisker, you got every good defensive player that the Bears have on the injury report, and the Bears' biggest problem this year is stopping the run, and the Saints are developing a very, very nice and nasty run game. Carr finally played better. I just don't actually make it a money pick. Saints -7 is a money pick. Money, money, money! Money! Saints -7 is a damn money pick. If Fields comes in, I don't want to bet it. But as we stand right now, it doesn't look like Fields is going to play. Saints -7, make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Buffalo Bills at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals -2.5. Bengals to win in the cover. You guys remember when everyone was saying the Bengals were done? And then, all the money was on the Cardinals. And then we bet the Bengals -3 that game. And then we bet them again against the Seahawks. And then we said the Bengals would cover against the 49ers. Listen, in this league, you get avalanches. You get momentum swings. And I don't think you can bet against the Bengals here. I got the Bengals to win in the cover. Now, I know the Bills have struggled this year, but when they get a big game a la Miami, they show up and they play brilliant. That's the risk we are looking at. The Bills are an inconsistent team. They can be brilliant or they can be dog shit. We know there is no in-between for that squad. But I do feel like Burrow's full health, and I told you that 2 weeks ago, and I think he's back. I think he's ready to ball, and there's tons of injuries on this Bills defense. And when you get a secondary that's banged up, no Tre'Davious White, he's not fucking coming back. And then you got Jamar Chase, Boyd looking at you, man. It's going to be tough for them to cover. And also, I do have to question, who's got the coaching advantage in this game? Who's got the coaching advantage? Like, for me, I'm not a big Zach Taylor guy, but I would go Zach Taylor in that battle. And this Bengals defense, listen, I know it's not as good as it was last year. Losing Bates to the Falcons was an absolute gut shot. I understand it. But this Bengals defense, is there a defense in this league that gives more effort than them week in, week out, play in, play out? I just think the Bengals defense will find a way to get some stops, find a way to get a turnover. Bengals win the turnover battle. Bengals win in the cover. I really want to bet it. I might change my mind and post it later on Patreon. I do want to be cautious here because we know the Bills are up, down, up, down. But if you give me above average Bills performance against an above average Bengals performance, Bengals are going to knock them off, man. Next game, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Carolina Panthers. Colts -2.5. Colts to win in the cover. I am a little bit worried about maybe a little bit of a confidence boost from the Panthers. I mean, I wasn't shocked that they beat the Texans last week, but, you know, it does surprise you a little bit, and I do think the Panthers come back down to reality, and I don't think this is going to be an easy game for the Colts. They're going to have to run the ball, and I do think against this Panthers front seven, with all the injuries the Panthers defense has had this year, I do think you can run it against them, and my issue with the Panthers this year has been the offensive play calling, and I'm sure, Frank Reich's not calling the plays anymore, but, he is the head coach. It's his system. It's his offense. I think the Colts defense has a bounce back day. They're really, really missing Grover Stewart, and I understand why. Saints were able to exploit that in the run game, but I think this Colts defense has a bounce back game. Colts to win in the cover. I actually really like this one. A little bit worried about it being on the road, different surface. Could make it tricky. Next game, we're going to the NFC East. We got the Dallas Cowboys, them boys, at the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles -3. Eagles to win in the cover. I'll tell you what, man. Credit to the Cowboys for what they did against the Rams last week, and I'm very happy we did not make that game a money pick, and I want to say that before we get into this battle. I do wonder, like I've been saying all year, the way to attack this Cowboys defense is to get physical, and you run it right down the Cowboys' throat. You run it right at Micah Parsons, and you don't let him be a pass rusher. You don't throw it 40 times, or he's going to absolutely destroy you. And what team can run the ball better in this league than the Eagles? If you had to bet your life on a team to run the ball, you need 150 yards, whatever surface, whatever opposition. Who would you bet? Who would you bet? You would bet Eagles, you would bet Hurts, and hell, they might get 6-7 quarterback sneaks, and people aren't going to be happy about it, but I just think the Eagles do the little things better. And also, listen, the Eagles have been puzzling us the whole year. Their fans, me, you guys at home. But I do trust Sirianni. I do trust that Eagles coaching staff more than I trust Mike McCarthy in this high leverage situation. Eagles to win in the cover with the -3. Curious to see how Dak plays, because we know that Eagles secondary is vulnerable. Eagles go out, they get Julio Jones, they get another running back. I do worry about the Eagles secondary, but I don't think Dak's going to exploit it. And do the Cowboys have the cojones to let that thing fly deep? I don't know, man. Eagles winning the cover. Next game, we got the New York Giants at the Las Vegas Raiders. Giants +2.5. I mean, Giants got the push last week against the Jets because of their defense. But this is Giants to win in the cover. There isn't a lot of science. Same thing with what I had the Lions beating the Raiders last week and covering it. I just think, man, this Giants defense is going to play better defense than the Raiders. But also, I think this Raiders team is just losing their fight. And it's not because of the players in that locker room. That team isn't all that bad. It's because they have a historically bad coach in Josh McDaniels. Give me Daboll over Josh McDaniels. Giants to win in the cover. Upset on the road. Next game, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. Herbert at the New York Jets. Jets +3. Money, money, money. Money. I might regret this, but Jets to win in the cover. Making a money pick. I do worry about this Chargers team. I do worry about this Chargers offense. And I do worry about this Chargers coaching staff. Now, we knew how bad Zach Wilson was going into the season. But at times, he's even left me shocked and flabbergasted. He just wasn't good enough against the Giants. I think he'll be a little bit better this game. I think the Jets will be able to run the ball this game. And that's one thing people keep forgetting about the Chargers. Like, I do think this front seven can be pushed around. And I like the Jets defensive matchup in this game. Ever since Mike Williams went out injured, I just don't feel like the Chargers have enough juice. I don't feel like they have enough aerial big play ability. And I have seen Herbert make a lot of miss a lot of big throws this year. And them beating up on the Chicago Bears, who are pretty much decimated with backup quarterbacks playing, doesn't win me over. I think there's something special about this Jet squad. Jets +3, making a money pick Monday Night Football. Hit the like button, share the videos, the best gambling show on the internet. Let's get this money. Let's get it. Another big week.